3 days ago, you thought about someone you haven't spoken to in months. Yesterday, you saw their name on a coffee cup. This morning, you heard a song that reminded you of them. And just now, scrolling through your phone, there they are, commenting on a mutual friend's post. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe the universe has been trying to get your attention for 3 days straight and you keep dismissing it as random noise. Here's something most people don't realize. The universe doesn't speak in English. It doesn't send you text messages or emails. It communicates through patterns, repetitions, and what scientists and mystics alike call synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that feel too perfectly timed to be accidents. But here's what's even more fascinating. These aren't just signs meant to amaze you or make you feel special. They're data points. They're feedback mechanisms. They're the universe's way of showing you whether you're aligned with the reality you're trying to create or drifting further away from it. And if you've been noticing synchronicities lately, especially the same ones repeating over and over, there's a reason. The universe isn't just trying to get your attention, it's trying to redirect you. Think about the last time you saw repeating numbers. Maybe it was 11:11 on the clock. Maybe it was $3.33 on a receipt. Maybe it was an address, a license plate, a page number that caught your eye at just the right moment. Your logical mind probably told you it was nothing, just pattern recognition, just your brain finding meaning where there is none. But somewhere deeper, in that place you can't quite name, you felt something. A recognition, a knowing, a sense that this means something even if you can't articulate what. That feeling? That's not your imagination. That's your consciousness, recognizing its connection to something larger. That's the part of you that exists beyond your body, beyond your logical mind, registering a signal from the quantum field itself. Because here's what quantum physics has been showing us for decades. Reality isn't as solid and predetermined as we once thought. At the most fundamental level, everything exists as waves of probability until consciousness interacts with it. Your attention, your focus, your emotional state, these aren't passive observers of reality. They're active participants in shaping it. And synchronicities? They're the visible evidence of that interaction. They're moments when the invisible conversation between your consciousness and the quantum field becomes visible in your three-dimensional experience. But most people miss them entirely. Or worse, they notice them and immediately rationalize them away. It's just my brain, they think. It's just confirmation bias. It's just coincidence. And in dismissing these messages, they miss the guidance. They miss the course corrections. They miss the confirmations that they're finally on the right path or the warnings that they're veering off track. I'm going to share something with you that might challenge everything you think you know about how reality works. But if you can stay open to it, if you can suspend your disbelief just long enough to consider the possibility, it might change how you navigate your entire life. What if synchronicities aren't random at all? What if they're actually a sophisticated communication system between your conscious mind and the deeper intelligence that organizes reality itself? What if the reason you keep seeing the same signs, the same numbers, the same symbols isn't because your brain is playing tricks on you, but because you're being guided towards something or warned away from something and you haven't been listening? What if every time you dismiss a synchronicity as meaningless, you're essentially hanging up on the universe mid-sentence? And what if learning to recognize, interpret, and respond to these signs could accelerate your manifestations, clarify your decisions, and align you with opportunities you couldn't have orchestrated through logic alone? That's exactly what we're going to explore in this video. Not from a place of blind faith or wishful thinking, but from an understanding that bridges ancient wisdom with cutting-edge science. By the time we're done, you'll understand why certain synchronicities repeat until you take action, how to distinguish between meaningful signs and random coincidences, what your specific recurring symbols actually mean for your life, how to use synchronicities as a navigation system for manifestation, why some people experience constant miracles while others see nothing. But before we go deeper, I need you to do something. For the next few minutes, release your need to have everything make logical sense, because the territory we're about to enter exists at the intersection of science and mystery, where the measurable meets the ineffable. Your logical mind will resist. It will try to categorize, rationalize, and dismiss. Let it. Notice those thoughts, and then gently return your attention to what I'm sharing. Because somewhere in you, probably in that same place that perks up when you see 1111, there's a part that already knows this is true, a part that's been waiting for permission to take these signs seriously. This is that permission. Let's start with what we can measure, because I know your logical mind needs something solid to hold on to before we venture into the more mystical aspects of synchronicity. In 1952, physicist David Bohm proposed something radical, that reality consists of two orders: the explicate order, the visible material world we interact with daily, and the implicate order, an invisible underlying field of information and potential that gives rise to everything we see. According to Bohm, the implicate order isn't just a philosophical concept. It's a real, active field of intelligence that's constantly organizing matter, energy, and events. And consciousness, your consciousness, has direct access to this field. This wasn't mystical speculation. This was cutting-edge physics from one of the most brilliant minds of the 20th century. And it suggested something extraordinary, that there's an invisible web of connection linking everything in the universe, and that web responds to conscious observation and intention. Now, let's add quantum mechanics to the equation. You've probably heard of the double-slit experiment, the famous study that showed particles behaving differently depending on whether they were being observed. When unobserved, particles acted like waves of probability, existing in multiple states simultaneously. But the moment a conscious observer measured them, they collapsed into a single defined state. This wasn't a glitch in the experiment. This has been replicated thousands of times. It's one of the most thoroughly validated findings in quantum physics, and it suggests something that should fundamentally change how we think about reality. Consciousness doesn't just observe reality, it participates in creating it. But how does this relate to synchronicities? Here's where it gets interesting. If consciousness can influence quantum events at the subatomic level, and if everything in our reality is ultimately composed of these subatomic particles, then consciousness should be able to influence larger scale events as well, not through direct manipulation, but through probability. Think of reality as a vast field of probabilities. In every moment, infinite possible futures exist simultaneously in quantum superposition. Which one actualizes into your lived experience depends on a complex interplay of factors, including, and this is the crucial part, your consciousness. Your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and focus don't cause events in a linear, mechanical way, but they do influence which probable timelines you collapse into. They shift the odds. They weight the dice towards certain outcomes and away from others. And synchronicities? They're the moments when you catch a glimpse of this process in action. They're visible proof that your inner world and your outer world are communicating, coordinating, aligning. Now let's talk about something called the Reticular Activating System, or RAS. This is a network of neurons in your brainstem that functions as a filter, determining which of the millions of sensory inputs hitting your nervous system every second actually reach your conscious awareness. Here's a simple example. Have you ever bought a new car and suddenly started seeing that same model everywhere? The cars were always there, but your RAS wasn't filtering them into your awareness until that car became relevant to you. The RAS works based on what you've designated as important, either consciously or unconsciously. It's constantly scanning your environment for patterns that match your internal focus, beliefs, and emotional states. So when you're deeply focused on a question, a desire, or a decision, your RAS starts tuning into information related to that focus. You begin noticing things that were always present but previously invisible to you. But here's where it gets fascinating. The RAS doesn't just make you notice things that were already there. According to quantum principles, your focused attention actually influences what shows up. There's a feedback loop between your focus/belief, emotion, internal state, your RAS filtering reality based on that state, your consciousness collapsing quantum probabilities, external events manifesting that match your internal state. You noticing those events, synchronicities, your internal state being reinforced or shifted. This is why synchronicities often cluster around major life transitions, intense emotional periods, or times when you're deeply focused on manifesting something specific. Your consciousness is more active, more focused, more emotionally charged, and the field responds accordingly. Carl Jung, the psychiatrist who coined the term synchronicity, understood this intuitively. He described synchronicities as meaningful coincidences, where an inner event, thought, dream, emotion, corresponds with an outer event in a way that can't be explained by cause and effect, but seems meaningfully related. Jung worked closely with physicist Wolfgang Pauli, and together they developed a theory that synchronicities arise from the collective unconscious, a shared field of information and archetypal patterns that all human consciousness is connected to. Sound familiar? Jung was describing, in psychological terms, what Bohm was describing in physical terms, an invisible field of intelligence that connects everything and responds to consciousness. But we don't have to rely solely on theory. There's been research into this phenomenon that yields remarkable results. The Global Consciousness Project, run by Princeton University, placed random number generators around the world and monitored them for deviations from randomness. What they found was extraordinary. During major global events, 9/11, the death of Princess Diana, New Year's celebrations, when millions of people were focused on the same thing simultaneously, the random number generators showed statistically significant deviations from randomness. Human consciousness, when focused, collectively, was measurably affecting random systems. Now imagine what your individual focused consciousness might be doing in your personal reality. The Institute of HeartMath has conducted extensive research on the electromagnetic field generated by the human heart. They found that the heart produces a powerful electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond the body, and this field changes based on your emotional state. When you're in states of appreciation, love, or coherence, your heart's electromagnetic field becomes ordered and harmonious. When you're in states of frustration, anxiety, or fear, it becomes chaotic and disordered. And here's the kicker. This field can be detected by other people's brains and hearts. You're literally broadcasting your emotional state into the environment around you, affecting other people's nervous systems, and according to quantum principles, influencing the probability of events manifesting in your vicinity. So when you're in a state of deep alignment, when your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are coherent and focused, you're not just more likely to notice synchronicities, you're actually more likely to generate them. Your consciousness is interacting with the quantum field more powerfully. Your RAS is filtering reality more effectively. Your electromagnetic field is broadcasting a clearer signal, and reality responds by organizing events, people, and circumstances that match that signal. This is why synchronicities spike when you're deeply in love, following your passion, making a decision aligned with your authentic self, just after a breakthrough or realization. In states of flow or presence, your consciousness is most active, most coherent, most powerful in these states, and the field reflects that back to you through an increase in meaningful coincidences. But synchronicities also increase when you're on the verge of a major life change, about to make a misaligned decision, ignoring your intuition, avoiding a necessary transformation. In these cases, synchronicities function as course corrections, warnings, redirections, wake-up calls from the universe trying to guide you back to your highest path. And this brings us to the crucial question. If synchronicities are this sophisticated communication system between your consciousness and reality itself, how do you learn to read them accurately? How do you distinguish between meaningful signs and random noise? How do you know when a synchronicity is confirming you're on the right path versus warning you to change direction? That's exactly what we're going to explore in the next chapter. Because recognizing synchronicities is one thing, interpreting them correctly is another thing entirely. Here's something most people get wrong about synchronicities. They think there's a universal translation guide. They think seeing 1111 means the same thing for everyone, or that finding a feather always carries the same message, or that there's a one-size-fits-all interpretation for every sign. But that's not how this works. The universe doesn't speak to you in generic symbols. It speaks to you in your personal language, a language built from your experiences, your memories, your associations, and your unique consciousness. Think about it. If I show you a butterfly, what comes to mind? Transformation, freedom, your grandmother's garden, that time you went to the butterfly conservatory on your first date, the tattoo your ex-partner had. The symbol doesn't carry inherent meaning. Your consciousness assigns meaning based on your personal history and associations. And the universe, which is intimately connected to your consciousness, uses those same associations to communicate with you. This is why two people can see the exact same sign and receive completely different messages. The sign itself is neutral. The meaning arises from the interaction between the sign and your unique consciousness. So the first principle of interpreting synchronicities is this: trust your immediate intuitive response more than any external interpretation guide. When you see a synchronicity, before your logical mind jumps in to analyze it, there's usually a flash of knowing, a feeling, an immediate sense of what it means. That's your consciousness recognizing the message. Everything that comes after, the analysis, the doubt, the second guessing, is your mind trying to make sense of what you already knew. Let me give you a framework for interpreting synchronicities that honors both your intuition and your need for structure. Level 1, confirmation. These are synchronicities that affirm you're on the right path. They feel light, exciting, supportive. You ask a question and receive a clear answer. You make a decision and immediately see signs supporting that choice. You think about someone and they reach out. Confirmation synchronicities often come when you're aligned but doubting yourself. The universe is essentially saying, yes, keep going, you're on track. Example: you're considering leaving your job to pursue a passion project. You're terrified but feel called to do it. Then within 48 hours, 3 different people independently mention successful career transitions. You overhear a conversation about following your passion, and you see the exact amount you need to sustain yourself during the transition unexpectedly show up. These aren't accidents. They're confirmations. The field is supporting your alignment. Level 2, redirection. These synchronicities feel more urgent or uncomfortable. They're obstacles that appear when you're heading in the wrong direction, or opportunities that appear when you're meant to pivot. You might experience resistance, delays, or closed doors when you're forcing something that isn't meant for you. Or you might have unexpected encounters, random opportunities, or persistent nudges toward a path you've been ignoring. Redirection synchronicities often repeat and intensify until you pay attention. The universe isn't being cruel. It's trying to save you from wasting energy on paths that won't serve your highest evolution. Example: you're pursuing a relationship with someone who seems perfect on paper, but every time you make plans, something goes wrong. They cancel, you get sick, unexpected work demands arise. Meanwhile, you keep running into someone else in the most unlikely places: the gym, the coffee shop, a random event you almost didn't attend. The universe is redirecting you. The resistance with person A isn't random. The synchronicities with person B aren't coincidence. Your consciousness knows which connection serves your growth, and reality is organizing itself to guide you there. Level 3, awakening. These are the synchronicities that shatter your worldview. They're so statistically improbable, so perfectly timed, so meaningful that they force you to reconsider everything you thought you knew about how reality works. You dream about a specific conversation, and the next day, it happens word for word. You're thinking about a deceased loved one, and a butterfly lands on your hand. You need a specific amount of money by a specific date, and it arrives in the most unexpected way at the last possible moment. Awakening synchronicities are designed to expand your consciousness. They're reminders that you're not separate from the universe. You're a conscious co-creator within it. Now that you understand the 3 levels, let's talk about how to recognize which synchronicities matter and which are just noise. Not every coincidence is a synchronicity. Sometimes a coincidence is just a coincidence. So how do you tell the difference? There are 3 markers of genuine synchronicity. 1. Emotional resonance. A true synchronicity creates an emotional response: surprise, excitement, recognition, awe, or even fear. Your body knows before your mind does. You feel something shift in your chest, your breath catches, or you get chills. If a coincidence leaves you completely unmoved, it's probably just statistical probability playing out. But if it makes you pause, if you feel something, pay attention. 2. Relevance to current focus. Synchronicities are almost always related to something you've been thinking about, questioning, or working on. They're not random, they're responsive. If you've been contemplating a major decision and suddenly synchronicities appear related to that decision, that's meaningful. If you see repeating numbers but they have no connection to anything in your life, that's less significant, though it might be priming you for something coming. 3. Repetition or clustering. One instance of something unusual might be chance, but when the same symbol, number, or pattern appears multiple times in a short period, especially through different channels, that's a pattern worth noting. The universe doesn't whisper once. If you miss the message, it speaks louder. If you still miss it, it shouts. Repeating synchronicities are the universe's way of making sure you don't miss what's important. Your personal symbol dictionary. Here's a practice that will transform your ability to interpret synchronicities. Start building your personal symbol dictionary. Get a journal dedicated solely to synchronicities. Each time you notice one, record the symbol/event. What happened? What did you see, hear, experience? Your immediate feeling. Before analysis, how did it make you feel? Your current life context. What's happening in your life? What have you been thinking about? Your intuitive interpretation. What do you think it means? What happened next? In the days, weeks following, what unfolded? Over time, patterns will emerge. You'll start to see that certain symbols consistently appear in certain contexts. You'll develop a fluency in your unique language with the universe. For example, you might discover that hawks always appear before major opportunities. The number 4 from 4 shows up when you're exactly where you need to be. Finding coins means financial energy is shifting. Dreams about water precede emotional transformations. A specific song always plays before reunions with important people. These aren't universal truths. They're your truths. Your consciousness and the quantum field have developed a shorthand, and once you recognize it, navigation becomes exponentially easier. The timing element. Here's something most people miss. Synchronicities don't just communicate what, they also communicate when. If you ask for a sign and it appears immediately, that's usually confirmation to move forward now. If you ask for a sign and it appears weeks later, that might mean the timing isn't right yet, or that you needed to grow/learn something first. Pay attention to the speed of synchronistic response. It's part of the message. Also notice when synchronicities stop appearing. If you've been receiving frequent signs and suddenly they cease, that often means one of two things. You've received all the guidance you need, and now it's time to trust and act. You've stopped listening, or you've become so identified with looking for signs that you're not present to life itself. The universe guides, but it also wants you to develop your own inner compass. Sometimes the absence of external signs is an invitation to trust your internal knowing. The shadow side of synchronicity. Seeking. Before we move forward, I need to address something important: synchronicity addiction. Some people become so obsessed with finding signs that they stop making decisions. They become paralyzed, waiting for external confirmation for every choice. They give away their power to symbols, essentially asking reality to live their life for them. This is a misuse of synchronicities. Signs are meant to confirm your intuition, not replace it. They're meant to support your decision-making, not make decisions for you. They're feedback mechanisms, not instruction manuals. If you find yourself unable to act without a sign, if you're spending more time looking for synchronicities than living your life, if you're assigning meaning to every tiny coincidence to the point of paranoia, you've crossed into unhealthy territory. The goal is integration. Using synchronicities is one of many tools for navigation while still trusting your own inner authority and taking responsibility for your choices. Now that you understand how to recognize and interpret synchronicities, the next question is, can you actually increase their frequency? Can you train reality to communicate with you more clearly? The answer is yes. And that's exactly what we're going to explore in the next chapter. Let me tell you about two people I know. Let's call them Sarah and James. Sarah experiences synchronicities multiple times a day. She thinks about someone, they call. She needs information, a book falls off a shelf. She's making a decision, and within hours, clear signs appear confirming or redirecting her. Her life feels like a constant conversation with an intelligent, responsive universe. James, on the other hand, rarely notices anything unusual. Life feels random, disconnected. He makes decisions through pure logic, forces outcomes through willpower, and generally feels like he's navigating blind through a chaotic reality. Here's what's interesting. Sarah and James have the same opportunities for synchronicities. The universe isn't playing favorites. They're both receiving the same potential signals. The difference? Sarah has learned to operate at the frequency where synchronicities become visible. Think of it like radio waves. Radio signals are constantly passing through your body right now, dozens, maybe hundreds of them. But you can't perceive them until you have a receiver tuned to the right frequency. The signals don't increase when you turn on the radio. Your ability to detect them does. Synchronicities work the same way. The quantum field is always responding to your consciousness. Events are always organizing around your focus and emotional state. The universe is always communicating. But most people are tuned to the wrong frequency. They're broadcasting static and receiving static in return. So how do you tune to the frequency where synchronicities become clear, frequent, and actionable? The Coherence Principle. Remember the HeartMath research we discussed? The electromagnetic field generated by your heart changes based on your emotional state. When you're in coherent states, appreciation, love, joy, peace, your heart rhythm becomes ordered and your field becomes harmonious. This coherence doesn't just affect your physiology, it affects how your consciousness interacts with the quantum field. Think of coherence as signal clarity. When your internal state is chaotic, anxious, resistant, conflicted, your consciousness is broadcasting a scrambled signal. The field responds, but the response is equally chaotic and unclear. But when your internal state is coherent, aligned, peaceful, trusting, your consciousness broadcasts a clear signal, and the field responds with equal clarity, organizing synchronicities that are obvious and easy to interpret. This is why synchronicities multiply when you're in love, following your passion, or experiencing flow states. These are all life's coherence conditions. So the first key to attracting synchronicities is cultivating coherence. Here's a daily practice that will shift your baseline frequency. The morning coherence ritual, 5 minutes. Before you check your phone, before you start planning your day, before you let the chaos of external reality infiltrate your consciousness, do this. Sit quietly. Place one hand over your heart. Close your eyes. Take 5 slow, deep breaths. Feel your body settling. Now bring to mind 3 things you genuinely appreciate. Not things you think you should be grateful for, but things that naturally evoke warmth in your chest when you think about them. It might be a person, a pet, a memory, the sunrise, the fact that you're breathing, coffee, your favorite song, anything real. Feel each one. Don't just think about them. Let the feeling of appreciation expand in your chest for at least 30 seconds per item. This practice does something remarkable. It shifts your nervous system out of survival mode and into growth mode. It reorganizes your electromagnetic field into coherence, and it sets your RAS to filter for appreciation and possibility rather than threat and lack. Do this daily for a week and watch what happens to the frequency of synchronicities in your life. The attention principle. Here's something counterintuitive. The more desperately you look for synchronicities, the less you'll see them. Why? Because desperate seeking comes from a place of lack, fear, and disconnection. I need a sign because I don't trust myself. I need proof because I don't believe. That emotional state creates incoherence, which scrambles your signal. But curious observation, I wonder what the universe might show me today, comes from a place of openness and trust. That creates coherence, which clarifies your signal. This is the attention principle. What you're looking for determines what you find, but how you're looking determines whether you find anything at all. Instead of desperately scanning for signs, practice relaxed awareness. Move through your day present and open, noticing what catches your attention without grasping for meaning in everything. The synchronicities that matter will announce themselves through that emotional resonance we talked about. You won't have to force the interpretation. You'll feel it. The question principle. Here's a powerful technique for generating specific synchronicities. Ask better questions. Instead of vague pleading, give me a sign. Ask clear, specific questions that can be answered in observable ways. Bad question, should I quit my job? Better question, if leaving this job would serve my highest path, show me a clear confirmation within 48 hours. Bad question, is this person right for me? Better question, if this relationship is aligned, let me see 3 synchronicities involving specific symbol this week. Bad question, what should I do? Better question, if I'm meant to pursue option A, show me X. If I'm meant to pursue option B, show me Y. The universe responds to clarity. When you ask clear questions, you're essentially programming your RAS to filter for specific information, and you're focusing your consciousness on collapsing specific probabilities. But, and this is crucial, after you ask, you must release attachment to receiving an answer. This is the paradox. You ask with specificity, then you let go with trust. The asking focuses your consciousness. The releasing creates the space for the answer to appear. The action principle. Here's where most people get stuck. They receive synchronicities but don't act on them. They see the signs, feel the guidance, recognize the pattern, and then do nothing. They wait for more signs. They overthink. They let fear override intuition. And guess what happens? The synchronicities stop coming. Why? Because synchronicities are part of a feedback loop. When you respond to guidance, you signal to the universe and to your own consciousness that you're listening. This encourages more communication. But when you ignore guidance repeatedly, the communication fades, not as punishment, but because there's no point in sending signals to someone who doesn't respond to them. Think of it like a friend trying to reach you. If they call and you never answer, eventually they stop calling. Not because they don't care, but because they learn you're not available. The universe works the same way. So when you receive a clear synchronicity, especially one that repeats or feels urgent, act on it, even if the action is small, even if you don't understand the full picture, even if it feels scary. Take the call, send the email, have the conversation, make the pivot, follow the impulse, trust the nudge. Action demonstrates faith, and faith strengthens your connection to the field. The state principle. There's one more crucial element in attracting synchronicities, your baseline emotional state. Remember, the field responds to your dominant frequency, not your occasional peak states. You can do a morning coherence practice, but if you spend the rest of your day in anxiety, frustration, and resistance, that's the frequency you're broadcasting most powerfully. People who experience constant synchronicities aren't living in perpetual bliss. They're living in perpetual presence and trust. They might feel fear, but they don't identify with it. They might experience challenges, but they don't interpret them as evidence of disconnection. They might have doubts, but they don't let doubt override their knowing. Their baseline is, I'm connected, I'm guided, life is working for me, I trust the unfolding. From that baseline, synchronicities flow naturally because their consciousness is relaxed and open, their nervous system is regulated, and their field is coherent. So the work isn't about forcing positive emotions or pretending everything is perfect. It's about developing a foundational trust in your connection to something larger. And that trust is built through 3 practices. Witnessing. Notice when you're in fear, control, resistance without judging yourself for it. Simply observe. There's fear here. There's doubt here. This creates separation between you and the emotion, allowing it to move through rather than defining you. Reframing. When challenges appear, practice asking, what if this is happening for me, not to me? What if this obstacle is actually guidance? This doesn't mean pretending pain doesn't hurt. It means staying open to the possibility that even difficult experiences contain intelligence. Microtrusts. Build trust through small acts of following your intuition. Speak up when you normally wouldn't. Take a different route to work. Reach out to that person. Say yes to that opportunity. Each time you follow an impulse and it works out, you're training your nervous system to trust your guidance. These practices compound. Over time, your baseline shifts. Presence becomes more natural than anxiety. Trust becomes more automatic than doubt. And from that state, synchronicities aren't something you have to work to attract. They're simply part of how you experience reality. The permission principle. There's one final, often overlooked element in attracting synchronicities, giving yourself permission to experience them. Many people have been conditioned to dismiss synchronicities as superstition, coincidence, or delusion. They've internalized the voice of scientific materialism that says consciousness is just brain activity and reality is just random matter bumping into other matter. Even if they want to believe in synchronicities, there's a part of them that's embarrassed to acknowledge them. That feels foolish for finding meaning in patterns, that worries they're being naive or irrational. This internal conflict creates incoherence. Part of you is opening to guidance, while another part is shutting it down. And in that conflict, synchronicities either don't appear or appear, but go unnoticed because you're actively filtering them out. So give yourself permission. Permission to trust what you feel even when you can't prove it. Permission to follow guidance even when it doesn't make logical sense. Permission to live in a universe that's conscious, intelligent, and responsive rather than dead, mechanical, and random. You don't have to convince anyone else. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to be willing to operate as if synchronicities are real and see what happens. And I'll tell you what happens. The universe meets you at the level of openness you bring. Close yourself to mystery, and you'll experience a mechanical reality. Open yourself to intelligence, and you'll experience an intelligent universe. It's not that one is true and the other is false. It's that your consciousness participates in determining which reality you experience. So choose the reality where synchronicities are possible and watch them multiply. In the next chapter, we're going to go deeper into the most common repeating synchronicities and what they specifically mean. Because while symbols are personal, there are archetypal patterns that appear across cultures and individuals. Understanding these patterns will help you decode the specific messages the universe is sending you. You've been seeing 1111 for weeks now, sometimes months. It's gotten to the point where you can't ignore it anymore. You check your phone, 1111. You glance at a clock in a store, and 1111. You wake up randomly in the middle of the night, 1111. And you're thinking, okay, universe, I see you. But what does this actually mean? What am I supposed to do with this information? This is where most people get stuck. They recognize the pattern. They know it means something, but they don't know what, so they either ignore it or spiral into overthinking. Let me give you a framework for interpreting the most common repeating synchronicities. But remember what we discussed in the previous chapter. These interpretations are starting points, not absolute truths. Always trust your personal resonance over any external interpretation guide. Number synchronicities. Let's start with repeating numbers because they're the most commonly reported synchronicity, 111 or 1111. This is the portal or awakening number. When you see 111 repeatedly, it usually indicates you're entering a period of accelerated manifestation. Your thoughts are rapidly materializing into form. You're being called to pay attention to what you're focusing on. A spiritual awakening or consciousness shift is occurring. But here's what most people miss. 111 isn't just a positive sign, it's a neutral amplifier. It's telling you that whatever frequency you're broadcasting is being amplified right now. If you're in fear when you see 111, that's a warning to shift your state before that fear manifests. If you're in excitement and alignment, it's confirmation that you're about to see results. The action step. When you see 111, immediately check your thoughts and emotions. What were you just thinking about? What were you just feeling? That's what you're manifesting. 222, this is the trust and patience number. It appears when you're in a waiting period between action and manifestation. You need to trust the timing rather than forcing outcomes. Balance and partnership are important themes right now. You're being asked to stay in faith even without evidence. 222 often appears when you're doubting whether your efforts are working. It's the universe saying, it's happening behind the scenes. Don't give up now. Trust the process. The action step. When you see 222, practice radical trust. Release the outcome. Focus on maintaining your frequency rather than checking for results. 333, this is the divine support number. It indicates ascended masters, guides, or higher consciousness are supporting you. You're aligned with your highest path. Your creativity and self-expression are being encouraged. It's time to step into your full, authentic power. 333 is deeply connected to the Trinity concept: mind, body, spirit in alignment, thought, emotion, action in harmony, personal will, divine will, and universal flow in sync. The action step. When you see 333, ask yourself, where am I dimming my light or playing small? What wants to be expressed through me right now? 444. This is the foundation and structure number. It appears when you're exactly where you need to be. Your efforts are building a solid foundation for future success. You're being supported and protected. It's time to focus on practical steps, and grounded action 4 often appears when you're frustrated with the pace of progress. It's a reminder that sustainable success requires solid foundations, and you're in the building phase right now. The action step. When you see 444, focus on the practical next step rather than the distant goal. What foundation can you strengthen today? 555. This is the change and transformation number. It signals major life transitions are coming or already underway. Old structures are dissolving to make way for the new you're being called to embrace. Uncertainty and trust the unknown. Transformation is uncomfortable but necessary. 555. Can feel destabilizing because it often appears before or during significant disruption. But it's not warning you against change, it's confirming that change is divinely timed. The action step. When you see 5555, release your grip on how things should be. Ask, what am I being freed from? What am I being guided toward? 777. This is the spiritual alignment number. It indicates you're in a period of deep spiritual growth. You're on the right path spiritually. Mystical experiences and downloads are available to you. Your intuition is highly active and accurate right now. 777 is often called the lucky number, but it's not about external luck. It's about internal alignment. When you see it, you're vibrating at a frequency where miracles become natural. The action step. When you see 777, pay extra attention to your intuitive hits, dreams, and subtle guidance. The veil is thin right now. 888. This is the abundance and completion number. It appears when financial or material abundance is flowing or about to flow. You're completing a major cycle and about to begin another. Your energy is balanced and harmonious. You're being prepared to receive. 8 is the number of infinity turned vertical, endless flow in both directions. It's reminding you that you're part of an infinite cycle of giving and receiving. The action step. When you see 8888, check where you might be blocking abundance through unworthiness or scarcity thinking. Open your hands to receive. 999. This is the completion and release number. It signals a chapter of your life is ending. You're being called to let go of what no longer serves you. Closure is happening, even if it doesn't feel complete. You're being prepared for a new beginning, which often follows as 0,000 or 111. 999 can feel like death, and it is metaphorically. Something is ending, and endings, even necessary ones, often bring grief. The action step. When you see 9999, ask, what am I being called to release? What ending am I resisting? Animal synchronicities, beyond numbers. Animals are one of the most powerful symbolic languages the universe uses. Different cultures have different associations, but there are some archetypal meanings that appear consistently. Birds, hawks, eagles, vision, perspective, seeing the bigger picture, often appear before major opportunities. Owls, hidden wisdom, secrets being revealed, ability to see in the dark, often appear before major insights. Crows/or ravens, magic, transformation, messages from beyond, often appear during periods of death and rebirth. Hummingbirds, joy, presence, the sweetness of life, reminders to savor the moment. Doves, peace, resolution, divine grace, often appear when healing is occurring. Land animals, deer, gentleness, sensitivity, grace, often a reminder to be gentle with yourself during change. Wolves, intuition, leadership, loyalty to your pack, often appear when you're being called to step into leadership. Snakes, transformation, shedding old skin, healing energy, almost always indicates major transformation. Butterflies, metamorphosis, resurrection, beauty emerging from struggle. Classic symbol of spiritual transformation. Spiders, creativity, weaving your reality, patience, often appear when you're creating something new. Insects, dragonflies, illusion, seeing through false perceptions, lightness, often appear before perspectives shift. Bees, community, productivity, working toward collective goals, reminders about collaboration. Ladybugs, luck, wishes granted, innocence, often appear as confirmations. The key with animal synchronicities is noticing unusual encounters. If you see a deer in the forest, that's normal. If a deer walks up to your car window and stares at you, that's a synchronicity. The unusualness is what marks it as meaningful. Found object synchronicities. Feathers. Feathers are classic symbols of spiritual presence and protection. Different colors carry different associations. White, purity, angelic presence, protection. Black, mystical protection, transformation. Brown, tan, grounding, home, foundation. Multicolored, integration, wholeness, all aspects of self. coins. Finding coins, especially pennies, often indicates financial energy is shifting. You're being reminded of your value. Small actions lead to big results. A deceased loved one is making contact. Keys. Finding or seeing unusual keys often means solutions to long-standing problems are arriving. Access is being granted to new opportunities. You're unlocking hidden aspects of yourself. Meaningful disruptions. Sometimes synchronicities appear not as symbols, but as disruptions to your plans that turn out to be protective or redirective. You miss your flight, then discover it had mechanical issues. Someone cancels plans, creating space for a more important encounter. Technology fails at exactly the moment that prevents a mistake. You get lost and end up exactly where you needed to be. These negative synchronicities are the universe course correcting. Trust them even when they're inconvenient. Dream synchronicities. When dreams bleed into waking life, pay extra attention. Precognitive dreams, where you dream something before it happens, are some of the most powerful synchronicities because they prove that time isn't as linear as we think. If you're dreaming of specific people, places, or symbols that then appear in your waking life within days, your consciousness is accessing information from the quantum field before it manifests physically. This is advanced synchronicity, your consciousness beginning to navigate multiple timelines simultaneously. The repetition, escalation pattern. Here's a crucial pattern to recognize. When synchronicities repeat and intensify, the universe is trying harder to get your attention. It starts subtle. Maybe you see a word once, then you hear it in a conversation, then it appears in 3 different articles you read. Then someone mentions it directly to you. Then it becomes the title of a book that falls off a shelf in front of you. This escalation isn't random. It's progressive guidance growing louder because you haven't acted on the earlier, gentler nudges. If you're experiencing escalating synchronicities around a theme, the universe is essentially saying, "This is important. This requires your attention. Please don't ignore this." And if you continue ignoring escalating synchronicities, they eventually transition from invitation to crisis. The universe will create circumstances that force you to address what you've been avoiding, not as punishment, but as protection from the consequences of continuing on a misaligned path. In the next chapter, we're going to explore the shadow side of synchronicity. What happens when signs go dark, when guidance seems to disappear, and how to navigate the void periods that inevitably appear on any spiritual path. Because understanding the full cycle, not just the miraculous moments, but also the quiet periods, is essential for developing true mastery with synchronicities. For 3 months, synchronicities flooded your life. Every decision was confirmed. Every question was answered. Every turn revealed itself at exactly the right moment. You felt held, guided, supported by an intelligence that clearly had your best interests at heart. And then, nothing. The signs stopped. The synchronicities dried up. The sense of being guided evaporated. You're still asking questions, still looking for confirmations, still hoping for that familiar feeling of cosmic connection. But you're met with silence. And in that silence, the doubt creeps in. Did I do something wrong? Did I miss an important message? Have I fallen out of alignment? Was it ever real to begin with, or was I just seeing patterns where none existed? Welcome to the void. Every person who works consciously with synchronicities eventually encounters this phase, and how you navigate it determines whether you deepen your relationship with the universe or abandon it entirely. Let me tell you what's actually happening during these silent periods. The void is not abandonment. First and foremost, when synchronicities go quiet, it's not because the universe has stopped caring about you or because you've done something wrong. Think of it like learning to ride a bicycle. When you first start, your parent runs alongside you, holding the bike steady, giving you constant feedback and support. You feel safe because you can feel their hands on the seat. But at some point, if you're ever going to actually learn to ride, they have to let go. For a moment, you don't realize they've released you. You're still riding, still balanced, still moving forward. And then you look back and see they're standing several feet behind you, smiling. The initial reaction is often panic. Why did you let go? What if I fall? But then you realize you're already riding. You've been riding on your own. The training wheels are off. That's what the void is. It's not the universe abandoning you. It's the universe trusting you. During periods of intense synchronicity, you're being trained. You're learning the language. You're building the relationship. You're developing trust in something beyond your logical mind. But at some point, that external guidance needs to internalize. The voice you've been hearing outside you needs to become the voice you hear inside you. The signs you've been receiving from reality need to become the knowing you access from your own consciousness. The void is where that transition happens. Why the void occurs. There are several reasons synchronicities may go quiet, and understanding which one applies to your situation is crucial. 1. Integration period. You've received a massive download of information, guidance, or energetic shifts. Now your system needs time to integrate it before the next wave arrives. Think of it like digestion. You can't keep eating constantly. At some point, you need to stop consuming and let your body process what you've already taken in. The void creates space for integration. The guidance you received is being woven into your consciousness, rewiring your beliefs, reshaping your patterns. This happens in the quiet spaces, not in the active periods of receiving. 2. Testing phase. The guidance you received pointed you in a direction. Now the universe is watching to see if you'll follow that guidance without constant external confirmation. Will you trust what you already know? Will you move forward based on the clarity you already received? Or will you become paralyzed, waiting for more signs before taking action? This isn't cruel, it's necessary. Because if you can only move when you have constant external validation, you'll never develop the internal authority required for your highest evolution. The void asks, can you trust yourself now? Can you trust what you already know? Can you take the next step without needing the universe to hold your hand? 3. Frequency mismatch. Sometimes the void occurs because your frequency has dropped significantly from where it was when you were receiving clear guidance. Remember, synchronicities appear when there's coherence between your consciousness and the quantum field. When you're in fear, doubt, control, or survival mode, that coherence breaks down. It's not that the universe is punishing you for having a bad day. It's that the signal clarity requires a certain baseline frequency. When you drop below that baseline, the communication becomes fuzzy. The solution isn't to force positivity or shame yourself for feeling low. It's to gently bring yourself back to coherence through the practices we discussed earlier: breath, appreciation, presence, trust. 4. The Hermit phase. In the tarot, the Hermit card represents a necessary period of inward focus and solitude. Sometimes the void occurs because you're being called to go within rather than seeking guidance outside yourself. During hermit phases, external signs diminish, so you're forced to develop your internal navigation system, your intuition, your inner knowing, your direct connection to source. This phase is uncomfortable for people who've become dependent on external validation, but it's essential for developing spiritual maturity. 5. Pre-manifestation. Pause. Sometimes, and this is the most paradoxical, the void appears right before major manifestations. It's like the moment of stillness before a wave crashes. Everything goes quiet, the energy pulls back, and in that stillness, doubt floods in. Nothing's happening. It's not working. I've been forgotten. But what's actually occurring is a gathering of energy for the next surge forward. The universe is organizing circumstances, aligning timing, coordinating elements beyond your perception. And that organization happens in the invisible realm, not in the realm of obvious synchronicities. If you abandon your path during this pre-manifestation pause, if you collapse into doubt and give up right before the breakthrough, you'll never know how close you were. How to navigate the void. So what do you actually do when the signs go silent? How do you maintain faith and forward momentum when you feel abandoned by the very universe you thought was guiding you? Practice 1. Return to basics. When synchronicities disappear, don't frantically search for them. Don't desperately scan reality for meaning in every tiny coincidence. That desperation creates more incoherence, which further scrambles your signal. Instead, return to the foundational practices that create coherence: daily meditation or stillness practice, morning coherence ritual, gratitude journaling, time in nature, creative expression, movement, and breathwork. These practices aren't about earning synchronicities. They're about establishing the internal conditions where synchronicities naturally arise. You're not trying to fix anything. You're simply maintaining your frequency even without external validation. Practice 2, review your journal. Remember that synchronicity journal we talked about? This is where it becomes invaluable. During the void, go back and read entries from when synchronicities were flowing. Notice the patterns. Remember the guidance you already received. Recognize that you have a body of evidence. This isn't faith in something you made up. You have documentation of your relationship with the universe. This isn't about living in the past or clinging to old experiences. It's about reminding yourself that you didn't imagine it. The silence is part of a larger conversation, not evidence that the conversation never existed. Practice 3, act on what you already know. Here's the most important practice. Stop waiting for new guidance and start acting on the guidance you've already received. Most people in the void already know what they're supposed to do. They just don't want to do it without more confirmation. They want another sign, another synchronicity, more proof. But the void is often the universe saying, I already told you. Now, trust it enough to act. Review the guidance you received before the silence. What were you being directed toward? What actions were you being called to take? What changes were you being asked to make? Do those things. Take those steps. Make those changes. And watch what happens. Often, the moment you act on old guidance without needing new confirmation, synchronicities resume. Because you've proven you can be trusted with the guidance you receive. Practice 4. Strengthen your intuition. The void is the perfect time to develop your direct knowing rather than relying on external signs. Start making small decisions based solely on your gut feeling. Which route to take to work? What to order at a restaurant? Who to reach out to? What to wear? Which book to read? Don't look for signs to confirm these choices. Just follow your impulse and see what happens. Over time, you'll develop confidence in your internal guidance system. You'll recognize that the knowing you thought was coming from synchronicities was actually coming from your own consciousness all along. The synchronicities were just external confirmations of what you already knew. Practice 5, embrace the mystery. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, practice being okay with not knowing. Not knowing why the signs stopped, not knowing when they'll return, not knowing whether you're on the right path, not knowing if you're doing it right. The need for certainty is often what creates the most suffering during the void. You want to know. You want to be sure. You want to control the unfolding. But spiritual maturity includes the capacity to move forward without certainty, to trust without proof, to act without guarantees. The void asks, can you be in relationship with the universe even when that relationship doesn't look how you want it to look? Can you trust even when you feel blind? Can you keep walking even when the path isn't lit? This isn't blind faith. It's educated trust based on your previous experiences. You know the universe has guided you before. You know synchronicities are real. You know you're not alone. Can you hold that knowing even when present circumstances seem to contradict it? When to be concerned. There is one scenario where prolonged absence of synchronicities might indicate a genuine problem, when it's accompanied by increasing misalignment in your life. If synchronicities have been absent for an extended period and you're experiencing repeated obstacles in the same area, persistent anxiety or dread about your path, relationships or opportunities consistently falling apart, a deep sense of being on the wrong path, physical illness or chronic fatigue. This combination might indicate you're not in a healthy void, but actually on a misaligned path. The difference is subtle but important. A healthy void feels quiet but stable. You're not receiving signs, but you're also not experiencing active resistance. Life continues relatively smoothly. You just miss the magical feeling of constant synchronicity. A misaligned path feels effortful and resistant. Everything is hard, nothing flows. And the absence of synchronicities is accompanied by a growing sense that something is fundamentally wrong. If you're in the second scenario, it's time to seriously question whether you're following guidance or forcing an outcome that isn't meant for you. But if you're in the first scenario, if life is generally okay but just less magical, you're likely in a healthy void. Trust it, navigate it with grace, and know that the signs will return when you're ready for them. In the next chapter, we're going to explore the ultimate level of synchronicity work, learning to consciously co-create with the universe. Because recognizing signs is one thing, deliberately shaping which signs appear is another thing entirely. There's a level of synchronicity work that most people never reach, not because it's particularly difficult, but because it requires a fundamental shift in how you see yourself in relationship to reality. Most people approach synchronicities as passive receivers. They wait for signs, they hope for guidance. They feel grateful when synchronicities appear and abandoned when they don't. But there's another level available, one where you stop being a receiver and become a generator, where you don't wait for synchronicities to happen to you, but consciously participate in creating them. This isn't about manifesting specific events through force of will. It's about understanding that your consciousness is already participating in organizing reality and learning to do so more deliberately and skillfully. Let me explain what I mean. The consciousness-reality feedback loop. Remember our discussion of quantum physics? How observation affects outcomes at the subatomic level? How the field exists as probability waves until consciousness collapses them into specific experiences. Most people think this happens unconsciously and randomly. Your consciousness affects reality, but you have no control over how. But that's not quite accurate. Your consciousness affects reality based on what you focus on, attention, what you believe, expectation, what you feel, emotion, what you identify as self-concept. These four elements determine which probabilities collapse into your experience. And while they operate mostly unconsciously, they can be made conscious, they can be directed. And when you learn to direct them skillfully, you don't just notice synchronicities, you actively participate in generating them. The intention-setting practice. Here's a practice that will demonstrate this principle. Tomorrow morning, before you start your day, set a clear intention to experience a specific type of synchronicity. Not something impossible or requiring massive coincidence, but something observable and meaningful. For example, today I will encounter 3 instances of butterflies, either seeing them, hearing about them, or coming across butterfly imagery. Or, today someone will mention the exact topic I've been contemplating without me bringing it up. Or, I will see the number 71 seen at least 3 times today. After setting the intention, here's the crucial part. Let it go completely. Don't spend the day actively searching. Don't force conversations toward your topic. Don't constantly scan for your chosen symbol. Just set it, release it, and go about your day with relaxed awareness. What you'll discover, assuming you do this with genuine curiosity rather than desperate testing, is that your chosen synchronicity will likely appear multiple times in ways you couldn't have orchestrated. Why does this work? Because your intention has directed your RAS to filter for that specific information. Focused your consciousness on collapsing probabilities related to that symbol. Created a coherent electromagnetic signal that the field responds to. Activated the quantum entanglement between your awareness and related patterns in reality. You're not creating something from nothing. You're tuning your consciousness to a specific frequency and watching reality organize itself to match. This is the foundation of conscious synchronicity generation. The probability sculpting technique. Now let's take it deeper. Instead of just noticing synchronicities, you can learn to shape which probable futures collapse into your experience. Here's how it works. Step 1. Clarify your desired outcome. Instead of vague hoping, get crystal clear on what you want to experience, not the specific path to get there, that's control, but the end state. For example, I want to feel deeply connected in my relationships. I want to experience financial flow and ease. I want to be doing work that excites me and serves others. Step 2. Identify the frequency of that outcome. How would you feel if that outcome was already real? Not what would you have or do, how would you feel? Maybe connected relationships feel like warmth and safety. Financial flow feels like relaxed confidence. Fulfilling work feels like energized purpose. Get specific about the emotional signature of your desired reality. Step 3. Embody that frequency daily. This is where most people get confused. They think embodying the frequency means pretending they already have what they want. Acting as if. Fake it till you make it. But that's not what I'm suggesting. Instead, You're finding genuine ways to feel that emotional signature now, regardless of whether the specific outcome has manifested yet. If connected relationships feel like warmth and safety, how can you create warmth and safety in your current relationships, even if they're not your ideal partnerships yet? If financial flow feels like relaxed confidence, how can you cultivate relaxed confidence about your current financial situation, even if it's not where you ultimately want it to be? You're not pretending. You're finding real ways to generate the feeling now. Step 4. Watch for synchronicities that match that frequency. As you stabilize in the emotional frequency of your desired outcome, synchronicities will appear that align with that frequency. You won't necessarily see the full manifestation immediately, but you'll notice signs pointing toward it, conversations that open unexpected doors, ideas that lead to new opportunities, people who enter your life at precisely the right time, resources that appear exactly when needed, obstacles that dissolve without effort. These aren't accidents. They're the field organizing itself around your coherent signal. Step 5. Follow the synchronistic breadcrumbs. Here's where conscious co-creation differs from passive receiving. When synchronicities appear, you act on them. You don't wait for the full path to be revealed. You take the next visible step. You follow the breadcrumb. You say yes to the opportunity. You have the conversation. You explore the idea. Each time you act on a synchronicity, you're training the universe and your own consciousness that you're a reliable partner in the co-creation process. And the universe responds by providing more synchronicities, more guidance, more support. The advanced practice, synchronistic dialogues. Once you've mastered basic synchronicity generation, there's an even more sophisticated practice available, having actual dialogues with the universe through synchronicities. It works like this. You ask a specific question. Should I take this job offer? Or, is this relationship aligned with my highest path? Or, what do I need to understand about this situation? You designate symbols for specific answers. If the answer is yes, show me hawks. If the answer is no, show me owls. If I need more information first, show me both. You set a time frame. Give me a clear answer within 48 hours. You release and observe. Let go of attachment to the answer being what you want it to be. Stay open and aware. You interpret based on what appears. If you see 3 hawks and no owls, that's a clear yes. If you see multiple owls and no hawks, that's a clear no. If you see both, you need more information before deciding. This might sound overly simplistic or even silly to your logical mind, but try it. You'll be shocked at how precisely the universe responds when you create clear parameters for communication. The key is specificity and release. Specific question plus specific symbols plus specific time frame plus complete detachment from the outcome equals clear response. Why this works. This isn't magic or wishful thinking. It's sophisticated use of how consciousness interfaces with the quantum field. When you ask a clear question with designated symbols, you're focusing your consciousness intensely on a specific inquiry. Programming your RAS to filter for specific information, creating a coherent intention that organizes probability fields, opening yourself to information your conscious mind might miss. The universe doesn't literally speak English or send hawks versus owls based on your request, but your consciousness, which is connected to the implicate order, the quantum field, the intelligence underlying reality, knows the answer to your question. And when you create clear parameters for that knowing to communicate with your conscious mind, it does. Through the symbols you've designated, through the patterns you've asked to see, you're essentially creating a bridge between your conscious mind and your deeper knowing. The synchronicities are the language of that bridge, the responsibility element. Here's something crucial to understand. As you become more skilled at generating synchronicities and shaping probable futures, you also become more responsible for what you create. When you are unconsciously manifesting, when reality just seemed to happen to you, you could claim victimhood. You could blame external circumstances. You could avoid responsibility for your experience. But once you understand that your consciousness is actively participating in what manifests, once you see evidence that your focus, beliefs, emotions, and intentions shape your reality, you can't unknow that. You become responsible for where you place your attention. for what beliefs you hold, for what frequencies you embody, for what intentions you set. This isn't a burden, it's empowerment, but it does require maturity. You can't complain about your circumstances while refusing to shift your frequency. You can't demand different results while maintaining the same consciousness that created your current results. Conscious synchronicity generation isn't about getting the universe to give you what you want. It's about becoming the consciousness that naturally generates the experiences you desire. The ethics of synchronicity work. One more crucial element. As you develop the ability to generate synchronicities and influence probability, ethical questions arise. Can you use this ability to manipulate others, to control outcomes, to force reality to comply with your ego's desires? The short answer is no, not really. But you can certainly create suffering for yourself trying. Remember, the quantum field responds to coherence. When your intentions come from ego, fear, control, or manipulation, you're inherently creating incoherence. That incoherence scrambles your signal and makes precise manifestation impossible. The only intentions that generate clear, powerful synchronicities are those aligned with your authentic truth, the highest good of all involved, the natural flow of your evolution. Love, creativity, and expansion. Anything else creates resistance, both internally and externally. So the ethics are built into the system. You don't need external moral guidelines. The field itself guides you toward alignment through the principle of coherence. The ultimate realization. As you develop mastery with synchronicity generation, something profound eventually dawns on you. You're not actually generating synchronicities. You're recognizing that all of reality is synchronistic. Every encounter is meaningful. Every event is purposeful. Every seeming coincidence is part of a larger intelligence organizing your experience. The distinction between synchronicity and ordinary reality dissolves. You realize there is no ordinary reality. There's only the continuous dance between consciousness and the field, between your internal state and your external experience. You stop looking for signs because you realize everything is a sign. You stop seeking guidance because you recognize that guidance is constant. You stop feeling separate from the universe because you understand you are the universe experiencing itself. This is the paradox at the heart of synchronicity work. You start by trying to see more synchronicities, and you end by realizing everything always was synchronistic. You just weren't aware of it. In the final chapter, we're going to bring everything together with a comprehensive practice you can implement immediately to transform your relationship with synchronicity and with reality itself. Imagine waking up tomorrow and moving through your day with complete trust. Not blind faith, but embodied knowing that you're exactly where you need to be, receiving exactly the guidance you need, moving in exactly the right direction. You don't check for signs anxiously. You don't grasp for confirmation desperately. You don't second-guess every decision fearfully. You simply flow, present, open, trusting, responding to what appears rather than forcing what you think should appear. This is what it means to live in the synchronistic flow, and it's available to you starting today. Not because you're special or chosen or more spiritual than others, but because you understand how the conversation between consciousness and reality works, and you're willing to participate in it consciously. Let me give you a comprehensive framework for living this way. The morning alignment practice. How you start your day determines the frequency you broadcast for the next 12-16 hours. So the morning is sacred time for alignment. Before you touch your phone, before you engage with external demands, before you let the chaos of the world infiltrate your consciousness, do this. Minute 1 to 2. Conscious breathing. Sit up in bed or move to a comfortable seated position. Place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Take 5 deep, slow breaths. Feel your body waking up. Feel your consciousness becoming present. You're not trying to change anything. You're simply arriving in this moment, in this body, in this life. Minute 3-4. Gratitude anchoring. Bring to mind 3 things you're genuinely grateful for. Feel each one. Let the warmth of appreciation expand in your chest. This isn't about forcing positivity. It's about orienting your consciousness toward what's working, what's beautiful, what's good. Because that orientation shapes what you'll notice throughout your day. Minute 5 to 6. Intention setting. Set a clear intention for how you want to move through your day. Not what you want to accomplish, but how you want to be. Today, I choose presence over distraction. Today, I choose trust over control. Today, I choose openness over resistance. Minute 7-8, Synchronicity. Invitation. Say something like, I'm open to receiving clear guidance today. Show me what I need to see, connect me with who I need to meet, lead me where I need to go. I trust the signs that appear. And then let it go. You're not demanding or forcing, you're simply expressing willingness to be guided. Minute 9-10, Coherence Activation. Bring to mind your desired reality, not the specifics of what you want to manifest, but the feeling of living in alignment. How does it feel to be in full flow, to trust completely, to know you're exactly where you need to be? Let that feeling fill your body for the final 2 minutes. 10 minutes, that's all. But those 10 minutes establish your baseline frequency for the entire day. Throughout the day, the awareness practice. As you move through your day, practice what I call relaxed awareness, being present and noticing without grasping or forcing meaning. Notice what catches your attention. When something pulls your focus, a word, an image, a person, a thought, pause and notice. Don't immediately assign meaning, but don't dismiss it either. Just acknowledge. That got my attention. Sometimes it's meaningful, sometimes it's not, but by practicing noticing, you're training your consciousness to recognize patterns. Feel your body's responses. Your body knows before your mind does. When something is aligned, you feel expansion, warmth, lightness. When something is misaligned, you feel contraction, cold, heaviness. Throughout your day, check in with your body. How does this conversation feel? How does this decision feel? How does this environment feel? Your body is constantly receiving and transmitting information. Learn its language. Follow small impulses. When you feel drawn to take a different route, reach out to someone, explore a new idea. Follow it. Not every impulse is divine guidance, but you can't develop discernment without practice. Start with small, low-stakes impulses. Take a different route to work. Pick up a book that catches your eye. Strike up a conversation with a stranger. Notice what happens when you follow these nudges versus when you ignore them. Document synchronicities. Keep your synchronicity journal accessible. When something noteworthy happens, write it down immediately. Don't wait until later. The details and feelings fade fast. Note what happened, what you were thinking, feeling when it happened, your immediate interpretation. What context this might relate to in your life. The evening integration practice. Just as the morning sets your frequency, the evening integrates what you've received and prepares your consciousness for the next day. Review your day. Spend 5 to 10 minutes reviewing your day, not with judgment, but with curiosity. What synchronicities appeared? What guidance did you receive? Where did you feel aligned? Where did you feel resistant? What wants to be acknowledged, appreciated, or learned from today? Release what doesn't serve. Identify anything you're carrying from today that doesn't need to come into tomorrow. Worry, resentment, disappointment, confusion. Take a few deep breaths and consciously release these energies. You can use the visualization of breathing them out or placing them in an imaginary container and setting it down. You're not suppressing or denying. You're simply choosing not to carry what doesn't serve you. Set your sleeping intention. Before you sleep, set an intention for your unconscious mind to work on while you rest. Tonight, show me what I need to see. Bring me the clarity I need. Connect me with the guidance that serves my highest path. Your consciousness is incredibly active during sleep. Give it clear instructions for what to focus on. The weekly reflection practice. Once a week, take 20-30 minutes to review your synchronicity journal and look for patterns. Pattern recognition. Are certain symbols appearing repeatedly? Are there themes in the guidance you're receiving? Are specific numbers showing up consistently? These patterns are your personal language with the universe developing. The more you recognize them, the more fluently you can communicate. Course correction. Are you receiving signs that you've been ignoring? Are there consistent nudges in a direction you've been resisting? Be honest with yourself. Where have you been dismissing guidance because it's uncomfortable or inconvenient? About celebration. Acknowledge where you followed guidance and it worked out, where you trusted a sign and it led somewhere beautiful. where you took a leap and were caught. Celebrating successes trains your nervous system to trust the process, the community element. Living in synchronistic flow doesn't mean isolating yourself in spiritual practice. In fact, connection with others amplifies the experience. Consider finding or creating a synchronicity practice group, a small circle of people who understand this work and can support each other's development. Share your experiences, compare notes, celebrate each other's breakthroughs, hold space for each other's confusion. When multiple consciousnesses focus on synchronicity together, the field responds more powerfully. You begin experiencing group synchronicities, events that are meaningful for the entire circle, not just individuals. When life gets chaotic, what about when life throws you curveballs? When crisis hits, when you're too stressed, too busy, too overwhelmed to maintain these practices? This is where the real test comes. Can you trust synchronistic flow even in chaos? Can you stay present even in pain? Can you look for guidance even in crisis? The answer is yes, but it requires redefining what guidance looks like. In difficult times, guidance might not appear as beautiful butterflies and repeating numbers. It might appear as a friend calling at exactly the right moment, an unexpected resource showing up, a seemingly negative event that prevents something worse, a forced pause that creates necessary reflection, strength you didn't know you had. The flow doesn't stop during hard times, it just looks different. The integration challenge. Here's your challenge for the next 30 days. Commit to the morning and evening practices daily, no exceptions. Even if it's abbreviated, even if it's imperfect, show up. Journal every synchronicity, no matter how small. Follow at least one intuitive impulse per day. At the end of 30 days, review your journal. Notice what's changed, not just externally, but internally. Notice how your relationship with reality has shifted. I can't guarantee specific outcomes. I can't promise particular manifestations, but I can promise this. If you commit to this practice sincerely for 30 days, you will experience a fundamental shift in how you navigate life. You'll move with more confidence because you know you're guided. You'll worry less because you trust the signs. You'll feel less alone because you've experienced tangible evidence of connection to something larger. And the synchronicities? They won't just increase, they'll become your new normal. The practical manifestation protocol. Let me give you one final practice, a complete protocol for using synchronicities to manifest specific outcomes. Week 1, clarify and set. Get crystal clear on what you want to manifest. Write it down in detail, not just what it looks like, but how it feels. Then set your intention. I'm open to manifesting desired outcome or something better. Show me through synchronicities whether I'm aligned with this path. Choose 3 specific symbols that will serve as confirmation signs. Make them unusual enough that you'll notice them, but not so obscure they'll never appear. Week 2 to 3. Follow the breadcrumbs, watch for your chosen symbols. When they appear, notice what you were thinking about, where you were, who you were with. Follow any inspired actions that arise. Have the conversation. Make the call, explore the opportunity, take the class, read the book. Don't wait for the full path to be revealed. Just take the next step each synchronicity points to. Week 4, evaluate and adjust. After 3 weeks, review your journal. Are synchronicities confirming this path? Are doors opening or closing? Do you feel more aligned or more resistant? If synchronicities are multiplying and doors are opening, keep going. You're aligned. If synchronicities have dried up or you're experiencing consistent resistance, be willing to release this specific outcome and ask for guidance on what would serve you better. The field is always guiding you toward your highest path. Sometimes that looks like what you wanted. Sometimes it looks different and better. The ultimate truth. Let me leave you with one final truth. The realization that has the power to transform everything. You are not a separate self, having occasional synchronistic experiences with an external universe. You are consciousness itself, temporarily experiencing separation so it can rediscover unity through recognition. Every synchronicity is consciousness recognizing itself, the universe seeing itself through your eyes, the field becoming aware of itself through your awareness. There is no separation between you and the intelligence organizing reality. You are that intelligence, expressing as an individual form, learning to consciously participate in its own unfolding. So when you see 1111, it's not the universe sending you a message. It's consciousness reminding itself of its own nature through the vehicle of your awareness. When you meet someone at exactly the right time, it's not random coincidence. It's the field organizing itself according to the patterns of connection and purpose that underlie all of reality. When your thoughts manifest into form, it's not magic. It's the natural relationship between consciousness and matter, between focus and formation, between inner and outer. You've always been part of this dance. You're just waking up to it. And as you wake up, as you develop your fluency in the language of synchronicity, as you learn to consciously co-create with the intelligence that moves through all things, you don't just change your life. You remember what you've always been, a conscious expression of the universe, learning to know itself through the gift of individual experience. The signs have always been there. The guidance has always been flowing. The conversation has always been happening. You're just finally learning to hear it, to trust it, to participate in it consciously. And that changes everything. Welcome home. If you've made it this far, something in you already knew this truth. You've been noticing the signs. You've been feeling the pull. You've been sensing that reality is far more intelligent, far more responsive, far more miraculous than you were taught. Trust that knowing. Follow those signs. Develop that relationship. The universe has been speaking to you your entire life. The only question is, are you ready to consciously participate in the conversation? I want to invite you to take an action right now that will anchor this understanding in your life. In the comments below, share one synchronicity you've experienced recently, even if it seems small or insignificant. By naming it, by claiming it, by sharing it publicly, you're affirming your willingness to see these patterns. And watch what happens. As you acknowledge synchronicity, as you give it voice, as you validate it in your own experience, it multiplies. The simple act of writing, "I saw 1111 3 times today," or "I was thinking of my friend and they called," sends a signal to your consciousness and to the field. I'm paying attention. I'm open. I'm listening. And the field responds by speaking more clearly. So right now, before you move on to the next video, before you scroll away, take 30 seconds and share your synchronicity in the comments. This isn't just engagement, it's activation. If this video has served you, if it's opened something in your awareness, if it's given you language for experiences you've been having but couldn't articulate, subscribe to this channel. Because this isn't just random content. This is a community of conscious creators learning to navigate reality through its deeper patterns. Every video I create is designed to deepen your understanding of how consciousness and reality interface. When you subscribe, you're not just following a channel. You're joining a field of awareness, a collective consciousness exploring these mysteries together. And that collective field amplifies what's possible for each individual within it. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next exploration, because we're going deeper into the nature of reality, consciousness, manifestation, and the quantum mechanics of how your awareness shapes your experience. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's been seeing signs, someone who's been questioning, someone who's ready to wake up to the responsive, intelligent, synchronistic nature of reality itself. And here's something to consider. The fact that you watched this entire video, all 90+ minutes, isn't a coincidence. Most people would have clicked away after a few minutes. But you stayed. Why? Because your consciousness recognized something it needed to hear. Because your soul knew this information would unlock something important. Because you were meant to receive this transmission at this exact moment in your journey. This video finding you? That was a synchronicity too. So honor it, act on it, implement what you've learned. Start the morning practice tomorrow. Begin your synchronicity journal tonight. Set your intention for the 30-day challenge. Don't let this be just another video you watched and forgot. Let it be the catalyst that shifted everything. Your journey with synchronicity is just beginning, but you're not on it alone. The universe is with you, always has been, always will be. It's been sending you signs your entire life, guiding you, supporting you, speaking to you in the language of meaningful coincidence. Now you just know how to hear it, how to trust it, how to consciously co-create with it. The conversation has always been happening. You're just finally aware of it. And that awareness changes everything. So go forward from here with new eyes. Notice what you've been missing. Trust what you've been doubting. Follow what you've been ignoring. The signs are everywhere. The guidance is constant. The universe is always speaking. Listen, trust, flow, and watch as your life transforms into the miraculous adventure it was always meant to be. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay aware, stay open, stay in the flow. The universe is listening, and now so are you.